Hey, y'all.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
We're rolling. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of Biteworthy. And Biteworthy, I'm still trying to get it to catch on. Biteworthy means a comic or joke that is worthy enough to steal from, that you, like a joke or mannerism, a style that you wish you had. We don't do that and don't steal from comics in the industry. That's like the cardinal sin.
For sure.
But bite-worthy means someone that is just good enough that you wish you could steal their stuff. You know, you wish you had their jokes, etc. So today, our bite-worthy comic, a comedian, is the creator and host of Hot Breath podcast, the Hot Breathiverse. You are the god of Hot Breathiverse. He is an amazing number, 400 plus interviews with many famous comics, local, just people in the industry. You've seen him all over. You can see his special trophy husband, Mr. Hot Breath himself, Joel Byars.
Wow, thanks for having me, Ryan. It's an honor.
Dude, thank you.
We got you.
Thank you. So we're gonna get right into it. I have a simple first question. What's Goody?
What?
What's Goody, man? Where'd you get that?
What's Goody?
Where that came from?
You know, a member of the Hot Breathiverse, Mitt Wolf, OG member, like during the pandemic, you know, I did the live writing contest every single day for over 400 days. And he was one of those early comics based in Chicago who would attend a lot of the live streams that I would do every day. And then he would just comment, "What's Goody?" And then it kind of caught on and people started saying it. And now it's just become part of the zeitgeist.
Came organically then.
It was very organic.
Those are the best, man.
Yeah.
Because you talked about, and you have this unique, wonderful mannerism where you feel the wall, and we talked about that being organic. It just it just caught on. You know, maybe I'm trying to force it. You know, it's like someone, hey, you can call me, you can call me Dirk. And you're like, no, we're not going to call you Dirk. Dirk has to happen naturally.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's some goodies that we had, growing up, because we're near the same age. We're about the same. You remember Sam Goody? Going to Sam Goody in the mall?
Was that a music store?
CD place.
I went to Media Play.
Oh, that's right.
I never really did Sam Goody.
Media Play, that's right.
Media Play was one for sure. Circuit City.
Oh yeah, because you grew up down here. I grew up north of the Mason-Dixon. And so we had Sam Goody. But do you remember? I was down here in my middle school and high school. Goodies is where I got my clothes. Goodies is where I got my clothes.
I love because you did this with Taylor too, where you're talking about handlebar mustache, and you went through all these different hand things. Yeah.
Silly,
Goodies,
but
Goodies was a good one.
That's where I used to shop.
I would shop at Goodies, and there was an Old Navy next to my Goodies, so we would double up on the fast fashion back in the day.
Old Navy, like I don't know how they're in business. I bought a pair of jeans. They were like $3. I'm like, this is not. You're beating Goodwill. Like, how do you do that? Like, how does that happen?
Well, they last a lot shorter than Goodwill.
Yeah.
Goodwill clothes actually last. They've been proven. Old Navy.
Oh, it's true because they were like two generations of people.
Exactly. Yeah.
People wear them unironically and ironically. I get it. Remember the song "My Goodies" from Sierra? That's a good jam. It's a good jam. My Goodies. I come up to her navel. I think she's 7 feet tall. She's so tall.
Did that feature Petey Pablo?
Oh,
or was that a different one?
I don't know, that could have been My Buttons or with, I can't remember.
My Goodies.
My Goodies.
Not that and them.
A lot of whispering back in the 2000s.
Yeah, I guess.
Wait, yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. Remember Goody Mob? You listen to Goody Mob?
Goody Mob,
God,
ATL's own.
Yeah,
for sure.
Good stuff. So that's some goodies that we ran through there.
Yeah.
What's Goody in your life right now, man?
Man, getting to sit here and do this with you is very Goody.
Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. It's a Goody compliment. Yeah.
Cody's Goody. Comedy's Goody. The podcast is Goody. The marriage is Goody. Life is Goody right now, fam.
Speaking of Goody, I just got engaged a couple days ago.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You're gonna need some Goody's powder. I'll tell you that right now.
Some headaches, yeah.
You see what I did there?
I'll tell you a story off camera about Goody's powder. My mom, we're not from here, and Goody's is not a thing up north, and I'll tell you about it, but it's a funny story. So, second question, there's an optometrist named Joel Byars here in Georgia, and I have a name doppelganger out there, another Ryan Trilla. Hard to believe, couldn't believe it. He's a therapist, so much like my doppelganger's occupation relates to comedy. Comedy is very therapeutic for both audience members and the comic. Because, you know, we take our trauma and we just kind of dump it on people at times, or we write from something that happened. I wrote a joke that actually came from my memory of being shoved in a trash can in middle school.
Yeah.
That happened, and it was not fun, but, you know, it's therapeutic to be like, I can laugh at that now. Much like an optometrist, who has a good vision for comedy? And what does a good vision for comedy look like?
I think a good vision for comedy is having good vision of yourself. It all comes from self-awareness. And that's something you and I were talking about before the show, is like writing from a more personal place. That's where you really start to find your voice. Yes, you can have jokes about being Italian, but you can have generic ones, or like what is unique about you and your experience as being Italian that you can talk about that no one else could. That's where you start to find those goody comedy jokes, as we say.
What's goody? Hopefully those jokes. Hopefully those jokes will be good.
Yeah, and I've worked hard to knock that Joel Byars optometrist off the search page of Google.
You smother him. That was a page 2, buddy.
I was fighting him. I was fighting him because even like his business used to come up, and now my business will come up. Like
his results are not goody.
It was a battle. Yeah.
That's good. Okay. So we're at, I forgot to tell you, we're at Shorty's Pizza. We're in Tucker?
Yeah, we're in Tucker.
Oh, Tucker. And Shorty's Pizza. Now, I'm a short Italian guy. Did you pick this place just to make fun of me? I
love this place.
Watch this.
And this place is actually the first place my wife and I ate here in Tucker.
You're the second comic that's picked it based on like not only the food being good, but like an actual like reason.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
That's amazing.
There's a lot going on here, and it's just good too.
It is good.
Yeah.
I had sandwich, pizza, salad. Yeah.
The only thing he didn't box up was the salad. If you could see the pile of leaves over there that he's just leaving the leaves.
The roughage was rough.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, if your style of comedy was a pizza, what would it be?
Ooh.
Is that a good question?
That is a good question. Yeah. A goody question, if you will.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
I mean, honestly, I would honestly say it would be a supreme pizza. You know, the comedy is supreme, but it also has some veggies in there, so it's like good for you. It's gonna go down and stick with you.
Let me tell you, I have an answer prep for there. You saying supreme, that's not humble pie. No, that's I would kind of agree with that. I would say that you're a pizza with little red sauce, red peppers, and red pepper flake, and all fresh ingredients, because you're very white, you're a little spicy, and you're clean.
Wow, I appreciate that.
Me, on the other hand,
I thought it was because I had rosacea. I thought you were saying all those red things.
No, that's literally me diagnosed. I would be a Sicilian half slice with meatballs, extra cheese that was dropped on the floor, because I'm smaller than most. Meatballs for substance, because my jokes have some substance to them. Pretty cheesy, and I'm kind of dirty. So that's what I would be. Okay. Just to let you know.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't ask, but that's good to know. I thought we were asking me the questions, but okay, that's fine.
Doing crowd work here. Crowd work. Is it crowd work if it's only one person? Do you remember your first pizza?
My first pizza?
As a kid, or?
Man, I mean, it feels like it would be like a Pizza Hut.
After a Little League game or something like that?
Yeah, like it feels like it'd be a Pizza Hut when we would like go and buy like the sticky hands that you would like sling against the windows and stuff.
Or those hologram stickers and that slide out thing. Those are days, man.
Yeah, for sure.
We're so nostalgic as I'm technically a millennial, because I'm like I think it's like 84 or 80, somewhere around there. I was born in 86, but we are very nostalgic. Like I follow a lot of accounts that bring up like, you remember Tamagotchi or Super Soakers?
Yeah, Game Boy.
Those. Yeah, I love those things. I don't know, they're dead on about nostalgia.
For sure.
But I think that's a really good. I remember mine was Pizza Hut, the old Pizza Huts that had the red cups the salad bar,
The
Tiffany lamps, and they're bringing those back. Like
Tiffany lamps.
Did
you just call the Pizza Hut lamps Tiffany lamps?
I mean, they look like it. I don't know. I'm engaged. This is what happens. I learned about Tiffany lamps.
That's a good way to spruce it up, though. It's a Pizza Hut. It's like a thrift store light, and you're like, it's like a Tiffany lamp.
Tiffany.
Yeah, totally.
That's Etsy. That's what Etsy is.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take some
sure.
old shit and sell it and say it's fancy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So can I roast you a little bit? I wrote some jokes because every time I even hear your name, you get me thinking about writing. Because you said this before, I'm going to give you a big compliment. You have helped me with writing probably more than anybody. Just by even engaging with you and Yoshi, bantering back and forth, telling me this joke was, I don't get it, but you could do this. It's a lot. And so I wrote a couple roasts for you. Is that okay if I?
Yeah. And just so people know, Yoshi, you're referencing every Tuesday at 5 p.m. on YouTube, we do a joke feedback hour where comics come and get feedback on their jokes.
Yeah, and they vote on and they win. It's a good little thing. It's nice. Best joke of the day is great. It's a great thing. So you used to look like you sell weed. Now you look like you sell insurance. That's a joke that I wrote.
That was one of the jokes?
Yeah.
Okay. So how many did you write? 5?
4. 4 quickens.
4?
Four
and that one
quickens.
counts as one of the 4?
It does. Unfortunately, it does.
Okay, cool.
All right, that's my opener. Great.
But weed is medicinal now, so that you maybe could get it with insurance now.
This is why you run Hot Breath.
Twist it. These ain't the days of smoking out of a Coke can like you used to do.
Oh man. Yeah, my options were paper or plastic, like the grocery store. That's it. That's all it was.
I feel like you would use Bible pages to roll joints. I feel like you were one of those guys.
That's blasphemy. You're so white you make eggshell look like burnt sienna. It's a crayon joke there.
Okay. Crayon?
Crayon.
Crane
Sorry,
joke?
crayon.
Crayon. Okay.
Or crown, as dependent.
Okay. Cool.
But yes, I'm glad you pointed out. You're roasting me in this. That's good. Why do I pick fights with comedians that are well known to me? Good. Joel is such a famous cracker. Ritz and Premium were in a bidding war to sponsor you.
I would take that. I would still take that.
Get that Ritz money?
Yeah, I would get that Ritz money.
Hey, every white dad called. They want their haircut back.
I love it.
Thanks. That's
nice.
my closer.
Those are good. Leave them laughing. Leave them laughing.
Well, it was an honor to roast you. It was good.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just get me going on writing, and I can't stress enough how helpful you are in that.
Thank you. I'm just concerned that you really inspired me to write, and then you just gave us 4 examples of bad writing. Now I'm worried about, these are all your fault, by the way, Joel. You inspired these. No, they weren't bad.
Thanks, man.
They weren't good. They weren't bad.
It's what we call ribbing. It's just ribbing in the comedy world. So,
but you gotta be careful. Roasting. It's I came up in these streets.
I am not.
I came up in these roasting streets.
I'm not a mean guy. This is why this didn't work that well. I'm a nice. I'm lighthearted.
Like every roast joke could have been ended with if that's okay with you.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Like you sell insurance. If that's okay.
It's too much. Yeah. It's true. I'm not a mean guy. I actually went mean at a mic one time and it was such a big mistake because I wasn't as sharp and the crowd they ate me alive, and I'm like, that is not my avenue. It's not my lane.
I used to get angry, and if someone would get up, I would yell at them. Like at Limerick, that show's still going on, and sometimes it's a bar. Most people don't even know the show's happening a lot of the time. Well, now it's actually a lot better.
Now it is.
Back in the day, it was a lot of just drunk people on a Tuesday.
Oh God!
So anytime someone would get up, I would yell at them and do you know who I am? And all this. It never worked.
Yeah. So I definitely know about I'm in the wrong lane. That's not my. But it was fun to do. I just want to do something different. You're lighthearted and you typically take a joke.
You got to experiment up there, yeah.
So speaking of trophy husband, I just got engaged as I told you.
Congrats.
Give me some advice that people don't normally give about marriage. Because I've heard, communicate.
Yeah, I mean,
don't go to bed angry.
Communication's a huge one, to be honest. But if it's one you probably maybe haven't heard, is that it's not. This isn't even a joke. This is actually something I learned from my grandparents who were married over 60 years, that it's not 100, it's not like 50-50. There's gonna be times when it's 70-30 in one person's direction, or the opposite 40-60 another direction, in terms of like sometimes like someone's priorities, they just take priority. Your priorities sometimes take the lead and other times hers will, you know, but it's being understanding and supportive of that and just making it a team effort in everything you do. So there's a lot of like selflessness that comes with
like the ebb and
marriage.
flow of where we're going and which things we're gonna have to follow with what's going on in life.
Yeah, what are you working towards together? Because it's a team at the end of the day. So you want to making sure you have mutual interest and mutual goals together and like a mutual vision for your future together. And these are all things you may want to figure out before you get married, because it's not too late. If you're like, oh, maybe we don't have mutual interest, then things that we can grow into together. Because you hear a lot of times marriages break up because they just kind of, people change over time and they start growing in different directions. So you want to make sure you're marrying someone where you're actually going to be growing in like a similar direction.
Yeah,
I no joke there. It's I've been married 5 years, and it's very important. It's the most important part of my life is making sure that my marriage is like at least being not perfect, but it's at least being worked on at all times, because it's work. Yeah.
It's funny, I do call her like she's my partner, and I call her my teammate.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so that's a
huge.
really that's I'm glad I'm in the right direction. Okay.
For sure.
Do you cook for your wife?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your wife's favorite dish that you from your
tater tots, man? They're so good.
Tater tots are good. God, tater tot. You talked about tater tots on the road.
I love tater tots.
When a club has a good tater tot, I'm like,
oh, I love tater tots, yo. I love tater tots.
Not even a bit. It's just life.
Yeah. You know, baking. You know, I like to bake for my wife. She like cookies. I made some rosemary chocolate chip cookies this past weekend. So
it's different.
Yeah.
Nice. I like a unique cookie like that, like a lavender cookie or something. Really show my macho side, but
yeah, really bringing out the beta energy in this interview right now.
Excuse me, we talked about you writing a beta joke, and I was like, I'm like, if beta's the second, I'm like F, like whatever that is.
Hilarious. I hadn't even thought. Yeah, it's a newer bit, but I'm really excited about it. It really
it's funny because I don't hear a lot of it, and it's original.
Yeah, that's what.
Good for you.
My father-in-law was even referencing it when he was down here last. So it's good when your jokes, and this is something we talked about. We were hanging out before this, of like creating memorable material that people. A lot of times you'll see a comic and not even remember what they said. So it's like, how can you create that memorable material that people come up to you and are like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of my uncle or my marriage or whatever, and it's those personal jokes that really do that.
That's really important, because I'm wearing a Felipe Esparza shirt in the spirit of comedy. Nice. Someone's getting a speeding ticket. All right.
There he goes. There's Felipe.
You actually got to interview him, and I remember immediately when I became a fan of his is he told a joke about the lunch line and that free lunch ticket. He goes, man, I remember, I didn't realize I was poor till I transferred schools, you know? He's like, because me and my friend were the only two in the free lunch line. I was like, and I felt bad because everybody else had to pay, you know? It's like, these fucking losers. I was like, oh, God. And then I talked about him, and I got to talk to him about it, and I was like, that's the most relatable joke I think I've ever heard, because I remember punching my ticket, like my free lunch card. He goes, yeah, you remember the yellow card? And I used to actually take the laminate off and use it different days. I was like, damn, Felipe. So it was so relatable. I've never felt, but he's got a bazillion jokes that are memorable.
For sure.
But a good comic, because I've been at shows where I'm like, oh, he was funny. And they're like, oh yeah, which joke? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He was just funny. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Exactly.
So faith is an important thing, and though my comedy and my life don't always reflect it, who in your opinion is the funniest person in the Bible?
The funniest person in the Bible?
I'll go ahead if you want to think about it. It's Moses for me.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, it was in two places. I think it was in both Exodus and Numbers, where they're traveling through the desert and they're complaining about like, oh, remember when we were in Egypt, we had like melon and garlic and leeks, and all we have is this bread. Moses literally goes to God like, these people Like I just think of like a Mel Brooks being like,
bruh,
dude, what are you doing? They're like, remember when we had? He goes, yeah, but you were slaves. He's like, yeah, but the melon, and the leeks and the honey and everything. Yeah, it was way better. He's like, but you're free. I'm like,
I could see that as like a Mel Brooks. I'm surprised it's not.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that is really funny. I don't have a specific example. I'm a bad Christian, I guess. I mean, I could think of Job.
Job was in my second one. He was the first emo.
You've got to have a good sense of humor.
You have to look at it
through like a sign of a great comedian is turning something negative in their life into a positive, or finding the silver lining of it. So Job got put through the ringer.
Oh boy!
So it's kind of like he took these lows and made the best of them.
He sure did, and then there's a glass half full guy. It's Job. Yeah. But I was reading it, and back in church I was reading. I'm like, God, this is the first emo. I just picture Job with like a swoosh and be like, why couldn't I just die in the womb? It's like, why was I even born? I just think of that in a different way, and I guess I always had a comic brain, but.
So you know the whole Bible? Were you like a pastor or something?
No, I just know. I'd like to do my research and do stuff and learn, and that was a big part of life, and get me on right track. So
wow.
Like I said, 13 years sober, making sure that I try and lead a decent life, and just always be better.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up. We always went to like non-denominational churches.
Yeah.
And then we started going to a church in a high school cafeteria. And then that got disbanded, and we never kind of went again after that.
Whole renegade church?
It was, I don't know what was going on.
Makeshift church?
It just
it sounds like an open
broke
mic.
Into it was an open mic church.
Open mic church. The gospel of running the light. I saw the light, but I ran it.
Said, let there be light.
And I ran it.
Yeah. And across the water, yeah.
Yeah, good.
He turned a 2-drink minimum into loaves and fish. Oh, that's pretty funny. Yeah, so it's like I've always grown up around religion, but I haven't really paid attention to it that much. Or I'm not that.
Some people are just faith-based, not studious, but I just remember diving into it, and learning some Greek and Hebrew, and it was a good thing. It was a good thing to learn.
That's great.
But my last question is kind of a simple one. I guess look at the camera and tell someone why someone would watch Bite-worthy. Why
nice. This is what I do on my podcast.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's called Hot Breath. I don't know if you heard about it. It's on YouTube.
It's a little thing,
all podcast
21,000 subscribers, no big deal.
So, hello there. I'm comedian Joel Byars, and you should watch. What's it called?
Bite-worthy.
This Bites. You should watch This Bites. I'm comedian Joel Byars, and you should watch Bite-worthy if you enjoy hearing comics being comics at restaurants.
That's a very simple answer.